came to mind when I thought of opera was like Vikings and stuff, and singing and ladies with long braided hair.
I thought of like people singing like really deep and like going, whoa.
I always thought opera was boring, but now, like, since I'm in this class, it's more fun and cool than it was before.
Opera's really fun.
Opera is maybe the best kind of theater of all. You get a great story, you get great costumes, and you get incredible music.
An opera is sometimes a story that people sing.
There's some dancing and a little acting.
In other kinds of singing, it just stays at one level. It doesn't go from all sad and mopey to all excited and happy to really loud and angry.
One of the best parts of my job at New York City Opera is getting to participate in the education programs we have here, and there are a lot of them for everybody at every different age.
Sixth graders, they're a little like, well, what is that class? You know, what's opera? What's that about? Why do they do it? But then the seventh graders and the eighth graders that have seen, you know, years of performances, they're excited about it. They want to talk about it. They're kids that aren't in the class anymore, and they're like, do you have any tickets for the opera trip? I want to go too.
We're doing a production of On the Town, and I like being Johnny because he's the guy that falls in love with the girl, and it reminds me of me.
Opera is basically anything you make it.
When your emotions are so built up and there's nothing else that you can say, you sing.
Many of you have prepared for the event today by studying this opera.
It's about a boy named Max who misbehaves.
So he's like, has his wolf suit on, and he's going crazy. And so his mom's like, you wild thing. And he's like, I'll eat you up.
My name is Julian Kuerti, and I have the job of conducting this opera that you're about to hear. The job of a conductor is to keep the entire thing together, to make sure that the individual instruments are playing at the right times and at the right levels, and that the singers know when and where to sing. If I move my hand faster, that indicates to them that the music goes faster, and if I move it slower, that means that it goes slower. Like, you know, the beginning of where Max comes in, so bum, bum, bum.
Well, I play Max. I'm a girl, and actually that happens a lot in opera, where a woman will play either a boy or a young man because their voice is often higher. Actually, a lot of me is in this character. I find it very easy to go back to what it felt like when I was 5 or 6 and either lost in my imagination or mad at my parents. It comes very easily to me.
The music is there to help tell the story. The music is there to support what the characters are thinking, what they're singing about.
Hi, I'm Mike OSROWITZ. I'm the principal percussionist of the New York City Opera. The basic definition of percussion is anything that is struck. So if you hit it, it's considered percussion instruments. There's a lot of percussion in this story. Max is a very active kid, and he runs around, he's got his toys, he knocks them over, he plays with them, he's very rough, and some of that is us making those sounds for him.
Before he goes to Where the Wild Things Are, he's talking with his mom a lot, and the orchestra actually sounds like the vacuum cleaner.
Max's mom is vacuuming, and she's picking up some of his toys, some pennies, paper clips, who knows what, and we simulate those sounds.
His mother sends him to bed, and I think he has this dream.
There's a forest that grows in his room, so he goes on a boat to go to the wild things.
Well, we all drew pictures of Max in his boat, and they cut them up and glued them to a big board, and it's going to be projected as scenery in the opera.
The music in Wild Things paints the picture of this world. It acts as the ocean when he is on his boat to go to where the wild things are.
This is the wind machine, and it sounds like this.
He comes to the island, and they're wild things. They're big, hairy, and vicious.
This is what the score looks like. There are lines here that are for all of the instruments. There are also lines here which are for the singers. This is the entrance of the wild things. Take a look at this. So what they do is they create mouth noises that are based on this diagram, trying to get the sound and the language of the wild things, which is not a real language, it's a made-up language, to try to get this to sound spooky and scary.
The moment when the wild things enter is really cool because the singers who play the wild things are making these weird sounds with their mouths that you usually don't hear in opera.
He has his wolf suit on, so they think he's really a wild thing. So then he's like, let the wild rumpus begin. And so they party.
A lot of time the orchestra is actually representing the thoughts of the character or representing another character.
I'm Bart Feller, and I play principal flute here at the City Opera. The flute's role in Wild Things, I think that sometimes we actually are the voice of Max. Obviously, someone is singing Max, but I think we often are portraying Max, meaning he's a little kid, he's got a high voice, he screams sometimes. The technique is to roll your tongue while you play your flute. So you change the sound from this to this. What an amazing way to get extra color when you're already playing at the highest part of the instrument.
Another moment is actually when they're going to sleep. The composer has written in all these yawns that are still kind of singing and kind of musical. Oh. They make all these funny noises with their mouths.
But then he misses his mom and he's getting hungry.
Towards the end of the opera, there's a scene called Max Alone. The whole orchestra kind of cuts out, and it's pretty much the two flutes back and forth. And you'll also hear more of that flutter tonguing that I was speaking about.
For Max's mother, towards the end of the opera, the music is very soft and comforting, and it gives you the picture that she's a wonderful, kind woman, and despite the fact that her son Max has been misbehaving, she still loves him, and she's still going to send him his dinner up to his room.
So he goes back home and he finds his supper and it's still hot.
That's what the music can tell us, and that's what an opera does. It's a theater piece that describes the emotions and the feelings of the characters in music.
Great opera makes you feel like this story couldn't be told any other way.
He's really like the operas.
It's really imaginative, the process of it.
I like it because I get to express myself, like I get to be myself.
You all are the future of opera. You are the future audience of opera. You are the future orchestra of opera. You are the future singers and composers and conductors and designers and wig makers and the whole lot.
I hope that the future of opera is in my classroom.